someone else who's not in the kindest graces of NFL history is Nathaniel Hackett. So Nathaniel Hackett, everyone remember what happened with him in Denver. Denver was like, you know what? We're going to trade for Aaron Rodgers. So we're going to sign Nathaniel Hackett because Aaron Rodgers does this passive aggressive. I don't know if I want to be in Green Bay. Maybe I'll go somewhere else. Maybe I won't. Well, the year that he did want to go somewhere else was a year too early for Denver. Hired the wrong head coach. Then you bring in Russell Wilson, who originally wanted Sean Payton as his head coach because he coached his idol in Drew Brees. And then Sean Payton's like, you know what? Everything last year was that guy who constantly looks like he's releasing a fart silently next to you. That's all his fault. And Sean Payton went at him. He's like, I don't know what happened last year. I don't know what the coaching process was, but I'm going to go around to all the players, ask what happened, and we're doing the complete opposite. And then Aaron Rodgers comes out and he's like, yeah, it made me feel bad that someone as Payton, who's as accomplished as a lot in this league as he is so insecure that he has to take another man down to set himself up for some sort of easy fall if it doesn't go well this year. So Sean Payton's comments don't go unchecked. Robert Saleh, Mr. Clean himself, came out and was like, yeah, I don't really vibe with this either. We don't play you until week 5. I get if you want to mention something then, but this just is weird, to be honest. What are your overall thoughts on Sean Payton going at Nathaniel Hackett and then Aaron Rodgers and Mr. Clean firing back?
I loved it, honestly, because in my mind, it's like everything he said was valid. Was it not one of the worst coaching experiences ever? I mean, someday we're going to talk about our quarterback, some of the worst head coaches that we've got to witness, whether it's Hugh Jackson, whether it's Urban Meyer. Nathaniel Hackett's on that list. I mean, good gravy. I mean, I understand that Russell Wilson played poorly, but you had one of the best defenses in the league. And had you have had the 24th ranked offense, you would have been in the playoffs, potentially fighting for the 1 seed.
Yeah.
Pretty horrible. And I understand Javonte Williams got hurt and some other guys were banged up, but there's no excuse for that. So him going in there, first time head coach with the Broncos, that is, and saying, you know what? Everything that happened last year was a complete train wreck. This coach was a bozo. I'm taking over the place. It's adding some confidence in the locker room, who clearly just was like, what the fuck is happening last year? And for Aaron Rodgers defending his guy, I like it. It's good.
Yeah.
I feel like Aaron Rodgers in the past has never really been like, I feel like I'm going to insult him when I say this. I don't mean it completely. Him and not always having his coach's backs. I feel like he made a lot of digs towards Mike McCarthy and Matt LaFleur in years past. So this is kind of refreshing. And then Robert Saleh defending his guy. Seemed like the Jets are kind of in this together. And Sean Payton's trying to, turn a new leaf in Denver.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely like everything Sean Payton said because when it comes down to it, everything Sean Payton said was correct. Now, Russell Wilson not taking checkdowns, is that Nathaniel Hackett's fault? Yeah, it kind of is when you're a rookie head coach, you getting fired mid-season when you have a Super Bowl roster, your fault? Yeah, probably some things aren't going your way. Part of that's on Russell Wilson. Part of that's on your offensive line. However, part of the blame always does have to fall on the head coach. And then Russell Wilson would go out there in his press conferences and be like, yeah, well, we went out there, we played, we tried hard, man, but we got to get better. We just got to focus at getting back to what we do, how we play, and get better every day. And then that was all it was. Nathaniel Hackett was like, I don't know. They just hired me, I guess, and I don't even know why I'm here. So I agree with Sean Payton. I also agree with Aaron Rodgers. If that's your guy, yeah, have some fun. Go back at Sean Payton. It's a slow time. I feel like this was just Colin Cowherd texting Sean Payton like, hey, can we drum up some controversy here? Aaron Rodgers like, okay, I'm kind of bored. I'll do that as well. So Aaron Rodgers firing back. I felt like it was fair. I don't think it's fair to say it's insecurity. And I think that's kind of a deflection. And it's kind of like that's where Aaron Rodgers loses me. But I see where he's coming from there. And then I see also with Robert Saleh defending his team. You hired him. Clearly, Aaron Rodgers wants him there. And that's just a guy to make Aaron Rodgers more comfortable, where he's kind of just the fun guy in the room, which works as a coordinator, maybe if he's like your quarterback's coach or your wide receiver coach. However, doesn't really work for a head coach if you're just kind of the fun guy. Andy Reid's fun, but he's also down to business. He's about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I also think one thing that lost me too was when he said that kind of saving face before the shipwreck burns or
Yeah.
whatever exactly he said. I don't think this season of the Broncos is anywhere near the same kind of shipwreck that would be for last year's. Last year's, it was like they expected them to be world beaters. They were expecting them to be Super Bowl contenders. This year, nobody knows what to think of the Broncos. If they're 8-9, which I think was what our prediction was,
Yeah.
nobody's going to be surprised. But if they're 13-4 and he does turn the ship, that's awesome. If they're somewhere like 6-9 wins, that's kind of where we expect them. So I don't really think he's trying to save face. I think he's just trying to rebuild what was a complete disaster last year.
Yeah, and you have to rally the troops, and you also have to start an identity there. And something Nathaniel Hackett, again, he's the fun guy. He was the Aaron Rodgers start buddy. He was his drinking buddy on the team. So he's not really that head coach adult in the room. Sean Payton's starting the kind of pack mentality where he had in New Orleans, where he was the guy who had Bountygate and was suspended a whole year for it. And I'm not saying that's what he's doing there, but he would install that kind of aggressive headhunting mindset for his team. And he started out, well, this is an easy shot for me. So let me fire some shots. Say, we're going to be the aggressors this year. Set the tone early on in the preseason when we're getting our feet wet. Set some expectations for our fans. Set some expectations for Vegas for what these Denver Broncos and our identity is going to be. And then I want to show the city how I'm turning this absolute disaster around.